My friends, happy Saturday to one and all. Before I venture out into the wilds, of course, need my protection. Heading out to outside fridge to get the goods. As you can see, I'm attempting to do a landscape version today. It was requested a couple times last week. Was that last week or did I skip one? Anyway, last time I did it. Because it does make a lot more sense, given that the theme of my whole thing here is about the vistas, the grand vistas. Why am I forcing you to watch the world through this little keyhole? That may make sense for some streamers who are streaming all about just their own face, you know? But I feel like my platform has a little something different going on, which is that I am but a character in this vast landscape. And the landscape is really the star of the show. So I'm going to try one in landscape. YouTube hates me doing this. They have been pushing every way they can to eliminate landscape from their streaming repertoire, and made it fairly difficult to switch to landscape. So I don't know if they're going to punish me by like not showing the stream to anybody, but we'll see. It's an experiment. It is going to be a little more difficult for me to see the chat. You're going to see my finger flopping in there more often, probably. I did get the shower done, Natasha. I'm going to show you all that soon. Good evening, Luke and Forever Home. You're in early enough to share the pour with me. This is once again the only... Actually, that's not true. I was about to say this is the only time I've had anything to drink since the last time I streamed, but I forgot about Wednesday night or whatever that was, when my my neighbor, the true Old West man, who also is the one who gave me that gun. Well, it's all mirrored, his heart. That gun. And is really the only person I hang out with out here. He has a way of like sneakily convincing me to drink more and more. So there's the pour. God, I've drank this and all of this with you guys. I bought this bottle specifically for this. I think I drank most of it last time I did this. I overdid it a little last time. This time I'll be a little more restrained. I think the problem was that I started with straight tequila last time, no mixer, and it's easy to get carried away with that. But yeah, so Wednesday or something, whenever it was, that guy got me pretty wasted, and he really put me through my paces. Every type of alcohol. First started me with a beer, then he's like, "Want some vino?" Pops a bottle of wine. Then out comes the whiskey. Every category, anyway. Okay, I'm trying to go outside with my cup. I'm gonna catch up on your chats once I get settled here. As per your suggestion, this time I got a covered mug, and I'm hoping that maybe this will deter the wasps from harassing me. First, I need to turn off this annoying air conditioner. It's too loud. No, I'm not complaining about my air conditioner. It is saving my life. But for this special occasion... Hey, Jen. Vino indeed. No, tonight is not vino. This is tequila. I'm going to keep doing tequila on these streams until it's gone. And then I will switch to something else. As I'm talking to you, a pop-up appears on my screen showing me the latest wildfire that is in the area, though it doesn't specify where it is. It's a name of a town I don't recognize, so I don't know. Cheers to a fire not being here. So, one downside of the landscape mode is it doesn't show. It only shows like 2 chats at a time. So I have to reach out to scroll here a bit more. Somebody calling in from Switzerland. That's fun. I've been enjoying how multinational the crowd is here. And already the wasp is on me. I think it's just the aroma gets in the air. There's probably nothing to be done about it. Holly, do you watch this on your TV still? I don't know if can you watch lives on the TV like a regular video? Because I did think that might be cool. I need to switch hands so I can do this without my finger in the way. Cheers, everybody. Since I missed that in the chat, I'll do another one. Did I find Bob from my last live stream? Was that the one where he was trapped in the shed? I think I lost him briefly. I don't think that was the last stream. Maybe it was. And then you all reminded me that I locked him in the shed earlier in the stream. Or rather, he locked himself in there. He likes to climb into the tool shed, and he never learns that means getting stuck in there because I have to shut the door, and then he's just in there until I remember to let him out. But yeah, you saved him that night. Go Twitch mode with my tablet. Oh yeah, no, that would be fun. I mean, having multiple devices would definitely make this easier. As it is now, I have an area about the size of like I don't even know what to compare that to. Like 2 postage stamps is all it gives me for the chat. So it's really narrow little slice. But I obviously can't be multi-devicing it out here because I like to move. That's kind of something that is different for my setup than probably most people streaming, is that, I'm in a place where I can walk around and show you stuff. Not that I would love to be able to like go on a trek, take you with me, but I can only do this on my Wi-Fi. So once I wander too far, it starts to fall apart. Okay, and they're on me. There's got to be a solution here. Maybe I had an idea, actually. This might be more effective if I can completely block. Well, on that note, since I have to go in there anyway, let me show you what I mean by saying the outpost is finished. That was not clickbait. So I posted a short earlier today talking about this one part, and I doubt many of you have seen that yet because it was just a few hours ago. And also, like, nobody watches the shorts. But yeah, so one of the big projects that I did is I installed this thing, and somebody tell me if I already talked about this last time I streamed. I don't think I'd finished this yet. But stop me if this is old news. So this is one of the big projects that was looming on my mind for pretty much since I got out here, was knowing that my well is it requires a pump to operate. It's not gravity fed. So if I lose power, I lose water as well, which is kind of this weird kind of anti-off-grid thing where I'm actually more dependent on the power grid than a city person in some ways, because cities lose power, you still have water pressure, but not me. That's where my water comes from. So all this time I've been thinking, If a wildfire happens out here, you lose power right away because they shut it off so it doesn't explode. And if that happens, I'm done. You know, I have no way to defend the house, no way to spray down the flying embers or anything like that. So it's been just stressing me out a lot. And I've been trying to do this for a long time. When I finally did it a couple weeks ago, is this generator inlet box here, which I plug the generator into that and flip this big, like, science fiction looking, Frankenstein looking electrical switch, and it flips the power panel from the power supply to the generator, which I have right here on my cute little platform. I just whip this cover off, plug it in, start the generator, and it'll power my whole setup here, including the well. So that was a huge relief for me, because now I really don't have to fear the wildfires anymore. Because out here, you know, with it being mostly grassland, it's actually a pretty reasonable endeavor to not evacuate, to just hang out and you know, defend the property. That's what all these guys did last time it happened 5 years ago. But you need to have water on hand. So now I am actually off grid. Yes, I did, Luke. Luckily, I wouldn't have attempted this if I didn't have a brother-in-law who's an electrician. He walked me through it via text, and you know, was very long suffering with my stupidity. It was pretty damn complicated. If you watch the short, you can see the interior of those boxes and the absolute nightmare of wiring that's inside there. And it took me a long time, a very steep learning curve. And I was very nervous when I flipped it on, because I genuinely thought, like, this might just explode and burn everything down. But it didn't. So I was pretty amazed. No, Kaylin, nothing exterior is live. On just means, well, I really need to stick a label on that thing, actually, because on in this case means it's connected to the city, and then there's the middle is off, and then the other on at the bottom is the generator. But yeah, it needs to be more clearly labeled. It's not dangerous from the outside. Did you say you're not an electrician, but you're electrically inclined? That's a interesting claim. What does that mean exactly? You mean like you do DIY electrical stuff? Yes, Back to the Future style, exactly. That's what I was picturing. Pulling down the big thing and just lightning streaking across my whole property. But the important takeaway here is that now I am actually off grid. No more fake off grid. I mean, I'm still kind of fake because I'm not like full time off, but I'm off grid capable. Anytime I need to be, shit hits the fan, you know, the end of the world happens, or I just lose power under normal circumstances. I just flip that switch and poof, I'm off grid. So that is a huge relief to me, and a lot of anxiety gone because of that. The other thing, which is what I've been working on for the past 2, maybe 3 weeks. And this is probably, so I've showed you guys my shower before in previous videos. You know, I just had a little camp shower. It's like a little propane portable. You know, it's meant for camping. It's like a very flimsy, lightweight thing that's just, you know, pull outside your tent and spray yourself down with hot water for a nice camp shower. Never meant to be used as like a long-term residential product, but that's what I've been doing for almost 3 years. And all along, I had a plan to build a proper shower. I mean, proper might be a strong word, but I had a pipe that I put in the ground when I put in the sink here. What am I showing you? And connected the same pipe to the sink drain, which goes to that barrel I've told you about in the ground out there. And I added a T onto that pipe for like future drain for a shower. So I always kind of knew I was going to do this outdoor shower, but the complexity of it was very daunting. It took me a long time to finally get to it. And this year I said, yeah, I've got to do it. I can't do another winter with no bathing whatsoever. Last winter, I kind of like had a pseudo girlfriend. I had someone I was dating who I could go to her house and take the occasional shower. I still didn't shower very often, but like when it got bad, I could go over there and, you know, hop in the shower and have normal hygiene. This year, not so much. So now it's like I had to do something about it. So what I did first, I'll take you into my house of horrors here. So I already had this water heater from the previous year, but I added on this really ridiculous, chaotic addition, tees upon tees, to add a secondary set of lines. And the reason that it's all zigzaggy like that is just because of like the way they're laid out. I had to, you know, one has to be above the other, and it's just really tight quarters. Everything I do out here ends up being super awkward because of how cramped the quarters are. But so I extended the water lines outside. Don't look at my horribly unprofessional electrical job there. I also installed the breaker, which is just added into the wall there. Don't think it'll catch on fire because it's properly, you know, taped and sealed and everything, but not exactly a proper conduit. But yeah, so I added on 2 hot and cold lines outside. That's my Ethernet, by the way. Added that as well. Getting high tech in here. And I put a shower outside, out through the wall. And then I built this enclosure. Which I'm so happy about. Building like a freestanding structures is scary because the winds out here are so incredibly strong that you have to build the hell out of it in order to stand up to the wind. So I was really worried about like, how am I going to have, you know, a solid wall here with nothing really to attach it to other than, you know, the studs of the house itself. And, you know, have it hold up. So what I did is I just put a lot of screws through into the stud on that side, and then on the front side I sunk holes and put concrete in there. And inside we see my little paradise in here. You got the shower coming out of the wall, and little sky simulated walls here. So the door, I probably won't be using it most of the year. I put it on these lift off hinges, so I can actually just lift it up. I think. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. It might take a little tricks, but this pops off basically. So I can remove the door pretty easily and have it just be completely open, which is how I intend to use it for most of the time. Right now it's not going to let me do that, but yeah, not a bad view for a shower, right? Good time to take advantage of that landscape mode. And then I have, you know, little friends in here with me. And the drain is under the gravel there, and I've got this faucet here, which is supposedly freeze-proof. When you turn it off, the water all drains out of here, out of the shower head, and then the water in the faucets, it all drains out to here, and it actually turns off on the other side of the wall where it's heated. So I hypothetically, if it works like they say it does, I'll be able to use this all winter, which is going to be interesting. So this is a huge upgrade for me. Cannot tell you how different the experience of just lingering in this spacious, you know, aesthetically pleasing shower while being protected from the wind, how much better that is than being out here struggling with my little camp shower that blows out in the slightest breeze, and exposed to the elements. So that is the last major amenity of my project here, and it is now complete. It has the bathroom, the other bathroom. It's got the power supply. It's all here. So yeah, cheers to that. Let me go back to get my drink. I even got some plants for the front. You all keep one asking me like, when am I going to start a garden or something? And Home Depot is getting rid of all their herbs, so I got these little herb baskets for $5. All of that, including the pot. I don't know if I'll be able to keep them alive. They might be about to die seasonally anyway. But it's a start. Okay, now I have another drink and read your comments. Because it's very hard to keep up with the chat when it barely shows me anything. Let's see. Pipeline from writer to mad scientist is real. I don't know if it's so much a pipeline as it is just a room that both are born in. There really is not much travel between those 2 points. I guess one nice thing about this position is you can see that I'm scrolling. Yeah, Kaylin, I can't walk you through the electrical stuff because I can't, show it to you without shutting off all my power. But it was a challenging one. Putting in a breaker was easy. I did the breaker for my water heater, and that was pretty damn simple. That was surprisingly easy, and that's what most people would want to do. Just adding additional breakers for new appliances, and that's very doable. The transfer switch thing was pretty high learning curve. Wouldn't recommend it to most people because if I didn't have my brother-in-law to call once in a while, I would have never got through it alive anyway. Bree, the height, I think it's about 7 feet to the top. It's just enough like I put it over my head because most people building outdoor showers are only going to use it in the summer because that's what a sane person would do. But I live here. This is not my, cute little vacation cabin. So I, at least for one more year, I'm hoping by the time next winter comes along, I may actually have a real house, and then this will become like my guest house, rental or something, or like a guest room if nothing else. But I have to get through at least one more winter, and I thought, there might be weirdos who will want to come out here live in the cottage in the winter, so why not make it winterable? And so yeah, it's wait, what did you ask me? Lost my train of thought. Something about the height of it. Yeah. Yeah, so I made it high enough and solid enough to block the wind, because the idea is that I'll go out there with my robe wrapped around me and turn the hot water on, hop in there, shut the door, be protected from the howling winds for mostly. It'll still get in a little on the top and the bottom, but it'll be mostly protected enough, I hope, to be tolerable. I think it's still going to be pretty uncomfortable, but if the water's hot enough, maybe I can do it. The worst part will be coming back in after I'm soaking wet, come screaming through the sub-zero temperatures in the snow back into the house and try to get warmed up. It will get snow in it, Jen, but it'll just melt when I use it, unless we get like a massive dump of snow. But I'll be shoveling like I shovel my way to the fridge outside. I make little paths, and I'll just kind of have a path around the whole building that I snow shovel out. And the shower itself will I'll probably scoop out as well, and it'll get nasty in there. It'll get frosty a little, but I think it'll work itself out because it'll melt from the water. I did consider putting a roof on it, but the problem with having it enclosed at all um, is that it bugs. You know, if I put a roof on it, then it's instantly a spider house. And the last, like, it's bad enough in the outhouse, having to like be in a vulnerable position and wonder where the nearest spider or fly is. But that's a much more uncomfortable idea to be in that state while completely naked and wet. So I want to keep it, open so it doesn't become attractive to bugs. Um, we'll see how it works out, though. Honestly, like I might, if it's unbearable, if the cold is too much, I might just like throw a tarp over it or something. I'm gonna play it by ear, especially because I'm only probably gonna be using it in the deep winter this one year, and then next year everything will change. It's probably not worth building anything. Well, luckily I don't lock my house, Holly. The funny thing is the shower doorknob has a lock on it, which cracks me up. Like, ooh, better hide the keys to my outdoor shower. But yeah, no, locking's not an issue out here because um, did you know like the only good people live in the country? So there's no crime. Don't have to worry about anything like that out here. Bry or Bree, I am 6'3". So your guess is generous. Thank you. But yeah, so I had to make the walls of the shower pretty high to make sure that I get like solid coverage. I did like the plants, Holly. I thought that was a nice touch too. It made me wonder, like, is there a reason that nobody has plants in their shower? I don't know if maybe like the excessive water will kill them. It's an experiment. I thought succulents could probably handle it because they're pretty tough, but I don't know. We'll find out. It definitely adds like a nice softness to it. And yeah, Kaylin, it looks and it feels like I live here now. The difference, uh, even just since I got the siding on here, such a huge difference. It's like that was really life changing, and now it's like there's nothing, there's no more, um, camper chaos out here. It's all like more or less real home style stuff. Well, Natasha, you would be very protected from the wind at 5'8". Good evening, John A. Douglas. You sound like a president from like 100 years ago. That would be a pretty bad day if I locked myself out, though, Holly. I don't. I guess it could happen. My lock is, the twist kind. It would take some doing to accidentally turn this, though. I don't see that ever happening. Speaking of which, like just a rant of mine. I don't understand why these locks allow themselves to be. Wait, am I about to say something really illogical? I was talking about this regarding public restrooms because it always bothers me. God, this lock is really. Hold on, the lock is kind of there. It's kind of sticky. It always bothers me that like people feel the need to knock on restroom doors, and my thinking was always like, well, if the door's locked, like, what do you want? What do you expect to happen when you knock on it? Like, obviously, there's someone in there if it's locked, and people have said, no, well, you can lock it accidentally, or like a kid will go in and lock it. And I thought at the time that didn't make sense. Because why would a lock allow itself to be locked from the inside if you're not in there? Yeah. Yeah, I stand by that. It's stupid that locks can be. No, wait, they have to be. I guess I was going to say that they shouldn't be able to lock unless they're closed already. But then that would prevent you from locking it on your way out. You'd have to use your key every time. So yeah, I guess that could be an issue. Anyway, thanks for walking through that with me. I can't tell if you're joking, Yamile, about the container house. Alibaba, the notorious, incredibly shitty merchandise website, is going to sell me a house. Certainly not for 20 grand. The shipping container itself would cost that much. And then shipping container houses are basically a scam. You still have to build an entire house inside the shipping container. You have to frame out walls and everything. They really don't provide anything other than the siding. I've ranted about this before. I won't go on it again. But shipping containers are not what they're cracked up to be. Everybody thinks like, oh, surely that would be cheap, right? To just get like some old rusty metal box from a ship. No, because they're cool now. So now they're expensive, just like tiny houses. Everything that seems like a loophole in the system, something that is, an alternative, if it's been discovered, if we're talking about it, it's now triple the price that it should be. Because all the people who can't afford housing are being forced into these bizarre experiments to try to find a way that they can live. And of course, the business steps in to exploit them. So, yeah, containers have so many problems with the basic concept of them. I've watched videos of people building those, and it's almost comical. It's like, we bought the shipping container so we can live simply and like have a easy construction. The first step was to build a house inside the shipping container with normal stick-built framing and normal studs and all the same things we'd have to do if we built the house from scratch. But it's inside a shipping container. Great. Well done. Enough about that. Yeah, Kaylin, that's all I need. I need that $4.99 tip. That just reminded me, on my last stream was the North Korea propaganda stream. Anybody here for that? Somebody who appeared to be like a representative of the DPRK popped into my stream and donated a bunch of money. I think they sent me like 3 donations of $5, and in exchange for a platform to talk about Dear Leader, which was just so funny to me. I could not get over it, but at the same time, it was like, hey, $4.99. I'll give a platform to a dictatorship. Every man has his price, right? Mine is a bargain. So yeah, if any algorithms are scanning this for positive representations in North Korea, I'm here for you. My prices are reasonable. I take no responsibility for the actions of that nation, but I am all about free speech and open platform. So yeah, say whatever you want to say. Okay, I'm back outside taking another shot at wasp tolerance, because nobody wants to sit inside my shed for this stream. Yes, that's exactly right, Jen. The moment it gets discovered by hipsters, it becomes expensive. Oh my God! I just got a $5 donation. Who is that from? No way! Is this for real? Is somebody trolling me right now, or did I actually summon a North Korean propaganda guy? There's no way somebody just made this up who doesn't actually live in Korea. That's amazing. I'm just going to read it out loud. The Baikun disappeared. Baikunsan Foodstuff Factory in South Hamgyong Province is increased production of consumer goods and foodstuffs and games. Year of Jushi 113. Wow, this is trippy. Oh, that is the same guy. So it says, let's celebrate their 5th super on a live stream. So, my God, this is the 5th time that I've gotten a donation from this person. Man, you got to tell me, like, are you a real person, or is this a bot? I feel like it has to be a bot for how quickly that happened. And last time they didn't say anything either. It was just like kind of automated stuff. But if you're a real person, I would love to know more about like what is going on with these donations. Yeah, everybody swing by Bakun-san. I hear that they have great prices on product. What was the product? Foodstuffs and games. Man, that's trippy. Is that all I have to do is just like say positive things and I get money? This is so funny to me. Best thing that's ever happened on my stream. What about any other countries? Who else needs good press right now? Yeah, I don't want to get too political. I can think of a few places actually, but let's not go there. That's true. Last time the username was it was Cat Respecter. But I guess it's the same. Oh no, it's still Cat Respecter. Okay. I thought they changed the name. I love it. That was actually the part that made me think that maybe it was not a bot. The fact that, they came in talking about cats, and that's kind of like what my channel is built on at this point, because that one single cat video continues to be like 90% of my traffic. So, it is what it is. South Africa, you need press? Let's hear it. What's going on in South Africa? But only for a donation. I don't do propaganda for free. I actually have no idea what's going on in South Africa. I would think that the people wanting to pay me for propaganda would be in places that where like they're doing something bad, so they need, positive representation to counteract that. Probably not so much places that are having bad things happen to them. Unless, of course, you wanted to, bring attention to a crisis that no one's talking about. In which case, like, all the better, I'd be happy to provide a platform for awareness for actual global crises. And maybe that's the new channel for my new brand for my channel. I'm but a mouthpiece for the governments of this world. Yes, the Bob Cam, Haley. I have yet to crack that thing open. But somebody who I have to assume came from YouTube sent me a Bob Cam, aka a well, it's not even actually specifically for cats. It's like kind of a knockoff GoPro from what I can tell. But it's pretty tiny, and it does have a picture of a cat with it on its collar. So I'm going to do that soon. Now that I have some spare time. It might not surprise you that took a long time to build by myself. Much longer than it should have if I knew what I was doing. But as always, it's a learning curve. And I haven't really been able to do anything else. So now that I'm finally free of the burden of DIY projects for the foreseeable future, at least for this year, I have like a couple little things left. I still have to build a box around the water heater so that I can insulate it and keep it from freezing. And no, that's actually it. That's the actual last thing. Because I already got the generator covered. That was one of the things on my mind. Yeah, it's just I just have to build a little thing. Oh, and then I have to build Bob's shit shack. Let's not forget. We talked about this last time because Bob, where is he, by the way? He has not made an appearance on this stream yet. Bob has had a bad habit of taking his dumps under the picnic table or like in the soft soil that I stirred up around the shower. All the most inconvenient places. And I realize he just likes to have a covered spot to feel safe when he's vulnerable. So you all suggested to me that I need to build like a little outhouse for him, a little shack that I can move around the yard as needed, to give him fresh spots to go. And I got really excited about that idea because the idea of building like an intentionally wrong structure, like doing it wrong on purpose to be very wonky and ugly, would be a much needed refreshment after spending so much time trying to do things, correctly and beautifully. So that's one of my projects, but that's very low priority. Yes, dear leader needs to see Bob, so let's go find him. And by the way, like whoever cat respecter, I'm laughing. I don't mean to be, disrespectful. I don't know what the hell the truth is about that country. I have heard my brother-in-law told me recently that a lot of what we think of North Korea is American propaganda, and that there is actually a much more complex situation there than we all realize. So like I'm not overly flippant about that. It's funny to me because North Korea has such a complicated persona in the U.S. But and it just the idea of like my stream being used for paid propaganda for an infamous dictatorship. But at the same time, like I don't know who this person doing the donation was. I don't know if it's a bot. I don't know if it's a government employee of some kind, or just like a random citizen who like wants to make themselves heard. I don't want to be too callous about that because like it could be, I don't know, it could be a serious situation for them, and I am open-minded. I'm always interested in hearing perspectives that I'm not used to. So like if I met a North Korean person, which is like something that basically we never do in the U.S. because they can't come here, I think. So like everything I know about North Korean culture is from the Western media. That's the only way you get it. So I'm very aware that like my perception of that country could be completely wrong. So like if I ever did encounter someone who wanted to talk to me about it, I would be delighted to hear them out, even publicly. For $4.99. Don't get me wrong. So what was I talking about before this? Oh yeah, I was looking for Bob. Where the hell is he? Bob? Usually he makes an appearance when I start streaming because he senses the attention nexus and he's like, I gotta get in on that. Haven't seen any sign of him in a while. He must be out on an adventure. Bob, you can't adventure when we're streaming. The only way I could find him would be to use the app, but it's on my phone, and then I'd have to stop the stream. So we'll just have to wait patiently for him to make his return. Meanwhile, Somebody said something. Yeah, Claudia, that is the odd part about it. Is I don't think trolls are spending real money for their jokes unless they're just really wealthy. And it's not really like there's not really a payoff to that joke, so it's strange. I actually I've been getting the donation thing is weird. Because on my cat video, I've gotten a few donations. There was one person last week. Their username was just like a bunch of random letters, and they gave me $25 twice on the same video. Both donations said thanks, just thanks, no further comment, and then dropped me $25. And I'm like, what? How? Like my scam radar goes off because I'm like, why is somebody dropping me that kind of money and not saying anything of substance twice? It just doesn't make sense. So I'm like, how could this possibly be a scam? Like, there's no way that them sending me money could then, like, because it goes through YouTube before it ever comes to me. There's no way they could track that to my bank account. I don't understand it. I can't figure out why a person would do that if it was for real. Um, so yeah, I don't. It makes me wonder, like, what the if there is a shady side to the whole donation thing. I can't imagine how that would be possible. How like, but I've been hacked before, so I don't know. Yeah, salsa. I would doubt that too. Um, I can only assume that it's some kind of government outreach program because the first time they did that, it was very pointedly like telling us, what you heard about North Korea is wrong. It's the truth is much more complicated than something like that. So it seemed like an outreach campaign, which I mean, for $5, like that's not a bad price. Though I wondered if they realized like there's only 30 people in here. I mean, more people might come back and watch it later, but it doesn't seem like a great investment of advertising dollars. Claudia, I got hacked quite hilariously. My Facebook account got hacked. Like my author page, Facebook, which I don't really use much these days, but it has a substantial following still, and I use it, for big announcements. Basically, anything that's a link to something important, I still use it. I'm not active on it socially, but somebody got me with this new scam. It's not probably relatable to most people because I think it's they target like creators specifically. But what they do is they say, I'm the booking agent for, this popular show, and our host would love to have you on the show. And they're always, really generic. Like, I actually got another one of these offers that is pretty much a carbon copy of that for a different supposed show. And they're like, they never say anything specific about you. They're just like, well, our team loves, your content. They love what you contribute to the spaces that you operate in, and they're just kind of like really vague. They don't because it's copy paste, I'm sure. So it's like, okay, first red flag. They don't seem to actually know who I am, but I've also gotten a few like that are from legitimate places. They just like kind of don't have time to engage personally with it. So I thought like, oh well, maybe it's legit. And they were like, yeah, we want you to be a guest on the show. And it seemed like the kind of show that like has a lot of different guests coming through. They said it was sponsored by Amazon, so like that made me think, okay, well, maybe it just has like so much money that they don't really care. And their offer was pretty ridiculous. It was like way more. I usually don't get paid anything to do appearances. Once in a while it happens, but if it does happen, it's like a couple $100. It's not meaningful money. And this place was like thousands. It was just within the realm of plausibility if they were funded by Amazon. And I was like, okay, like that's awesome. I'm gonna see what happens. And they had like this whole scheduling thing, and it became more plausible because they're like, oh, Monday doesn't work for us. We have another guest on that time. Can you do Tuesday at 2 o'clock or something? And they kind of like bounced me around a little to give that appearance of authenticity because um, the entertainment industry is all about delays and schedule conflicts, and that felt authentic to me. And when it finally came close to the time, like we need to do this little pre-check, this little technology test to make sure that everything on our streaming is working properly. And I'm like, okay, that seems legit. Sound check. And started to go through this process with them, and it was like this slow process of like, oh well, do this and then do that, and then oh well, things are normally set up differently than this, so we might need to dig a little deeper. And I kind of got like invested in it, and they at some point they're like, the only way we can figure this out, like your account's not set up how it normally is for most of our guests. We need to like give some credentials here in order to be able to participate in our Facebook event, which I'd never really done like a co-host kind of event thing. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's a setting somewhere. And they asked to screen share, which was my first big red flag. I'm like, okay. I guess if that's the only way, like I'll let you screen share, but I'm not gonna like open any vulnerable areas of my account. I thought I'm not gonna like show them anything that could be possibly, you know, sensitive. And I still don't know how they did it, but somehow, like just from looking at very surface level areas of my Facebook account, they got some information that they needed, and just like took over my whole business page and kicked me out of it. And I still haven't gotten it back yet. I'm still struggling with Facebook, and this was like a verified page with the blue check, and I had it for like 12 years, very established. But Facebook is just a monolith. They don't have people working for them, so there's not a whole lot you can do when that happens. I'm not exactly heartbroken about it because like I barely ever used this account anyway. But it was still, I had like 10,000 followers. It was a significant platform. And my biggest concern was that they were going to, use it to post a bunch of bullshit that would make me look bad, and I would have no way to explain, like, this isn't me. But they posted one ad, and then I was able to sort of like disable the ad account, so they couldn't do anything more with it. I still can't use the account, but they can't either really now. So I guess it's safe. But yeah, it's frustrating. The thing is, you're right, Jen. Everyone under 60 left Facebook a while ago. This is true for the most part. But, a lot of my readers are either really young or really old. I actually don't have a lot of like 20 something, 30 something readers. They tend to be like either, you know, early 20s, teenagers, or like 40 and up. And the older part of that demographic is still pretty active on Facebook. So I thought like, well, that's kind of like my, because they won't come to YouTube. They won't come to Instagram. They're like Facebook people. So that's the only place I can reach that demographic is my Facebook. And now it's gone. So that was annoying. Yeah, Luke. Well, I guess you're smarter than me. They got me. I had to chuckle when this happened because I'm like, man, this is just the classic case. I was seduced by the money. I mean, they offered it was $3,000 appearance fee, and I'm like, holy shit, like that is a legitimate offer, as I should have been getting all along, right? Like best-selling author with a movie adaptation. Like, of course I should make real money when I do TV appearances. And, never before had anybody offered me real money. So I was kind of like, they got me with the money and the ego, and they lured me in like fucking Sauron, you know? They seduced me with the promise of power and made me go against my better judgment. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Honestly, maybe I kind of deserve that. But now I know. And in fact, when I got the second offer, I just immediately replied to them as like, "Oh, is this the thing where you do screen share, get my information, and hack my account?" And I'm just like, done. They didn't respond, shockingly. It really was the time conflicts that won me over, Claudia. Because I just thought, like, because when I started to suspect, I was like, if these were just spammers, like, why would they delay the process? Why would they tell me that they have to wait till next Tuesday to do our chat? Like, you think they'd be trying to get me hooked as soon as possible? And I just could not figure out, like, what possible reason would they have to be like, oh, we can't do Monday, and like reschedule things? That just felt real to me. So I don't know if that was like part of their performance, or like maybe they had a job interview, or maybe they're out trying to get real jobs and they actually couldn't do it on that day. Sorry, I can't scam that day. I have to go to work. Wait, what did Karma? Where's Karma in here? Karma. Oh, there you are. Another classic from my Twitch days. I always get a warm feeling when people from Twitch show up here. I had a brief dalliance with Twitch, ironically or appropriately, during the year that I lived at my mom's house in 2021, I think, which is like very stereotypical. As soon as I move into my mom's basement, I instantly become a Twitch streamer. But yeah, I gathered a little crew of quality folks doing my little Fallout Warm Bodies roleplay, uh, and then had to quit because I left. Um, I left, the world, so to speak. Not that I left Twitch. I am still on the Twitch. I think I actually still have one subscriber. I told everybody when I left, like, I'm leaving. Don't keep giving me money. Nothing. You're not going to get anything. Nothing's going to happen. But I think I still have one holdout who's still subscribing, despite the fact I haven't done anything on there in like 3 years. Okay, Kaylin. I will search for Bob. I'm gonna pop out of the stream for like a couple seconds and check the Bob app and see if I can locate him before everybody drops off, because it looks like my stream stops. So I actually don't know what happens when I go to a different app um, while I'm streaming. Well, you can tell me what happens. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Well, yeah. So it's the tracker is kind of unreliable. It occasionally does a thing where it says that it's offline. It's like off the network, and usually it comes back on after I open the app for a second. But I don't know if the fact that I'm streaming might be interfering with it or something. But it's not showing me where he is. So now it would show me if he left, if he'd gone somewhere, it would have notified me. So he's got to be nearby. He got stuck in a tree a couple days ago. I'm actually going to go check these trees and make sure he's not treed again. Last time I couldn't find him, he was just up in a tree and couldn't figure out how to get down. It's not in that one. Go check his other spot. I am back, right? I don't know what actually happened when I popped out there. Not in the outhouse, just the flies. He might have gotten in the shed. He does that sometimes. Sneaks in under my feet. Oh, there he is. Sauntering in like nothing happened. Come on, Bob, say hi. Say hi to the gang. There's the hi. I'm pretty sure he was over in the brush on that tree. He loves to go nap in the shade. this spot right here, this shady patch of brush. I always find him hanging out. He just likes to sleep in that little shady grove, which, you know, can't blame him. Look at this man of leisure. Give us a show, bud. It's been a bobless stream for way too long. There he is. Oh, even got a little rumble going on. Probably can't hear that. I'm going to try to get his purr with the mic. I'll flip the mic around. Come on, Bob, give us a purr. You hear it? Did that come through? Fantastic. Yeah, Bob's living the life. He knows what it's all about. We like to get down on the ground, hang out together. Big yawn. Bob ASMR. Yes, indeed. He doesn't purr that often, honestly. He's kind of in a continuous state of bliss. So it doesn't always register that he's happy, because he's just kind of always like this. So I feel like he doesn't really need to express his purr as dramatically. He does it only when he's like maximum chill. But he doesn't do it just for like everyday happiness. He's a man of few words. Oh, hold up. Oh, thanks, Tiny House Off-Grid Lifestar and Adorable Pets. Your username has gotten longer. I'm going to heart that. What does hearting it do? Bob's Treat Fund. You know, last time I streamed, no one donated specifically for the treats, but I did in my socks product video. I had the whole joke at the end about, you know, Bob complaining to me about needing to make more money to buy him treats. And fact is, my YouTube channel actually does make a little bit of money now. It's hard to tell. I think most of it is still coming from that one video. I wish I could separate out the income and figure out how much I'm actually, you know, earning legitimately, because it's kind of weird when so much of what this channel is comes from that single video that's now 1.5 million views and still like the vast majority of my traffic, compared to like most of my videos have like 1,000 views. So it's very disproportionate, and it's hard. So it's like hard. It's a little deceptive, because it's like, oh, like I made a few $100s this month, but it's like, how much of that did I make and how much of it did Watson make? So hard to tell if this channel is actually paying for itself. But I like to pretend it is. And donations like this certainly help the case. So yeah, I talked about, you know, using the channel to make money to buy treats. And I went out and bought in some fancy treats. Some of those like salmon goo, the little tubes full of gooey salmon stuff that cats go crazy for. which he did. He loves it. He also loves margaritas. I will give him that salmon treat before we sign off today. I usually reserve it for rewarding him for coming home at night, because that's like the one behavior that I want to encourage more than all others, is for him to come inside after dark, so I don't have to go outside and track him down and find him and bring him home, which is a pain. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. He's like wandering among the plants and just has the most relaxed gaze on his face. It's majestic. I think we're about to get a flump. Flump! Right on cue. You can always tell when he's about to flump. He gets that like lazy look in his face and his posture starts to teeter. And then he collapses like Godzilla. The herbs, they're a blend that came from Home Depot. This whole thing, these were $5 each, including the pots. They were trying to get rid of everything before the winter, so I got some sweet sales. It's thyme, rosemary, and more rosemary. And then this stuff, they said that this is basil, but it's no basil I've ever seen before. It smells kind of more like mint. I'm not sure what that is. If it is basil, it's some exotic variety. It's definitely not the standard, Italian style. Sage, you say? All right, let's take a leaf. Doesn't smell like sage. I don't know what that smell is. It's very familiar. It's like it almost feels like a hybrid of things. It's very pretty though. I don't know. Doesn't smell like sage to me. Maybe fresh sage is different than dried sage. It could be. I don't know. That would make a lot more sense than basil. Thank you, Fifth Gear. Yes, he is precious. He's been absent for most of the stream, so you came at just the right moment. He's having a very lazy afternoon. Just sunbathing and lounging. Oh, it could be bay leaves. That makes sense. Yeah, Claudia, I'm just hoping it'll last. They've already kind of withered a little bit since I got them a couple days ago. I don't know why. I mean, they were housed outside at Home Depot. These ones I didn't even take out of the pot. So it's just like being in my presence starts to kill them immediately. Even though literally nothing has changed. I guess maybe the angle of the light's a little different. But, yeah, or it could just be the season. I don't know. But I'm going to do my best. These are all perennials, they said, so they should come back next year, even if I do kill them. Bro, Fifth Gear, am I going to make a Warm Bodies sequel? Tell me more, expound on your question. By me making, do you mean... I want to know what you think what that means to you. Tell me about the Warm Bodies sequel. While I wait for that response, I got to show you guys something. So Bob, he'll probably disappoint me and embarrass me here, but Bob's favorite time of day, it might be too early because it's still pretty bright. He wants to be in the shade, but he loves it when I sit in this chair. As soon as I sit down here, he usually comes running to sit in my lap. I don't know if he will because it's still kind of hot out and he wants to be in the shade. He loves, this is like the sunset chair. Yeah, I don't think he's doing it. If it were sunset time, he would come running and hop up here with me. But now he's in shade mode. Okay, so fifth gear, I think, sensed a trap and is not going to fall into it. The thing is, like, people ask me this question, and I never really know if they mean, I'm assuming they mean, like, write another movie. Like, a lot of people think that I actually wrote the movie and that it's, like, up to me to make another one. When, in fact, I have no control over that at all. But there is, the fact remains that I absolutely did write a sequel. I wrote 2 sequels and a prequel that the vast majority of people still don't know exist. And in fact, those were all optioned to be made into a movie. Option means that they buy the rights to use them if they want to. But if they don't actually use them, you don't get paid that much. And so they bought the rights to all, they optioned the rights to all of them a few years ago with the assumption that it was going to be for a TV show. And then their plans for that TV show kind of fell apart. And I still don't know exactly why. But they are still working on it. I get an email from them once in a while, like every few months, from their representative who's like, hey, guess what? You know, we started again. We're reconfiguring our plan. We're doing this. We're looking for new people, etc. And that I got another one of those, I think, when was that? Like right after the writer's strike ended, I got another one of those, which was, when was that? Like, was that last fall? It was last year, right? Pretty sure it was last year. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Either nothing came of it, or they are deep in the thick of it, and maybe I could get the next email tomorrow to say that they found their people and it's going back into production, and who knows? It could happen at any time. And it's been in that state for a long time now, so I've done all I can. And this sun is way too bright. I'm going to go back and sit with Bob in the shade on the ground in front of the car. This is the place to be, right, Bob? Right, buddy? Oh, yeah. Come on and join me, bud. See, he wants to be on the lap, but he needed to be in the shade even more. That was the priority. Okay. Good boy. There's the little rumbles coming back. He loves this chin rub thing. He'll sit on my lap and look up at me like, where's the chin? I need that scruffy beard rub. Wait, I feel like I missed something important here. People are talking about magical creatures and robots. Oh, is that your idea for the sequel, the Warm Bodies sequel? I mean, you're not too far off. Magical creatures anyway, no robots. Got to save the robots for my post-apocalyptic. I have this story idea that I've been ruminating on for a while now, which is there's a lot of things I like about it, but I just don't know how to do it in a way that doesn't feel like a Fallout ripoff. I've talked about this a few times. It's just like there's certain themes that the Fallout franchise has that I find really evocative, and I want to play with them in a very different way, but it's just like they're so heavily branded to that franchise. I don't know if it can be done, especially now with the popularity of the show and everything. It's kind of like it's too mainstream now. Might have to wait a few years till people forget. Specifically, the theme of being skipped ahead through in time in some way, and emerging, from a vault, so to speak, or from removal from society, coming back into the world and finding a completely changed world. I think that idea is so compelling. And I had this idea to write a story based about that, kind of based in a little bit more grounded, like kind of based in, the world that I'm in, and the idea of somebody being removed from the world for a very short amount of time, just for like an experiment of some kind, and coming back into the world and finding it radically changed just because of the exponential increase in the speed of change, which is something that I think, seeing how rapidly things are changing now, I feel like we're at a point where what used to be, wake up 200 years later could now be, 10 years. And you could wake up to a completely transformed world because of just the out of control speed of escalation with technology, with societal changes, genetics, AI, all the stuff that is just running out of control right now. There wouldn't necessarily need to be any kind of apocalyptic event. It could just be like the normal change of society at a out of control rate of mutation, which I feel like is pretty plausible right now. But yeah, it's the whole, coming out of a vault thing, the fish out of water. It's tough to do that in a way that doesn't feel overly attached to that franchise, especially with as much as like I'm known for loving that story, that franchise. So I don't know. I don't know if it can be done. Maybe someday. Updates on the overnoise. Um, so yeah, the book. I'm at such a frustrating point um, in my whole writing career right now because I have all these things going on that I can't talk about things yet because they're all at these like sensitive points where if I share too much information, it could possibly come back to bite me. So, but to be really vague, like I can't. I have a little bit more work to do on the overnoise before I can send it out for publishing. Basically one more draft, and I can't start on that until I finish this other project that I can't talk about yet, um, which is a commissioned paying gig, and I can't start that project until they come through with the contract. And so the overnoise is basically kind of bottlenecks behind lawyers and all that shit. Like people drag my life into the molasses with just the glacial pace of communication with corporate people. You know, if you're negotiating for a contract or something, it's like it'll take 2 weeks for them to say, "Sounds good, thumbs up." And then you say, "Okay, what about this one thing?" And then 2 more weeks go by, like, "Oh yeah, that's no problem." 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks. So it's just so slow. It's maddening. And I can't really start on the big revision of the overnoise until I'm in the clear from this project, because it could happen like at any day now. I'm expecting it, in fact, any day now. Like possibly next week should be when this contract gets signed. And actually, I'm already done with the project because it's been taking so long to write the contract that I've already written the damn thing. because what else am I going to do? So the thing is done. It's ready to go. I just have to get the contract signed so that I can turn it in. And so basically, like, there's a scenario that could happen where the contract comes through next week, and I'm like, hey, surprise, I already finished the thing. Here you go. And then I can start working on the overnoise immediately. And I'm kind of thinking it's probably about a month for the overnoise. Probably about a month of focused editing. Possibly 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere within a month. And then it will go back out to the market, and we'll see what happens. It will be in a much better position to be published now. For partly because it will be a much better book because of the work I'm doing on it right now, and partly for other reasons related to this other project, which I can't get into detail without spilling industry secrets. So even though I'm drinking, I'm still going to maintain some level of propriety. Can you tell us hints about what, Fifth Gear? About my secret project? Oh, Dell. Shit, man, I forgot. I saw you pop up when I first started this, and I forgot to say hello. Dell Engine here. Shit, is that how you pronounce your last name? I don't know. I can't think I've ever heard it said out loud. This guy goes way back with me. Was the first press entity to ever take notice of my first band, The Tallest Building in the World. Well, my only band, really. And wrote a article for MSNBC, which I don't know if that still exists. But yeah, it was like my first discovery. And then kind of like, I feel like you probably helped me out in some other ways, promoting me to the local radio or something, because you were a mover and shaker. And used to live in Seattle. Then he went to, I think you moved to LA, if I am recalling your history right, to compose for film. And that was kind of the last I heard from you, man. I feel like I saw you at an event a few years ago, but I don't remember what it was. Anyway, yeah, good dude, and I hope your music career is continuing to thrive. You took a wild left turn from journalism to film composing, which is probably a difficult field at the moment, given that, well, it seemed like everybody was hiring bands to do film scores instead of actual composers for a long time. There's still a lot that do use composers, but a lot of the market was being eaten up by, pop artists. And then now, I guess, I don't think any movies are using AI, right? But I guess that's probably the specter lurking on the horizon. But you asked me a question. The Literary Tarot. Yeah, that was just a weird little project. There's this magazine called Friction that has been really good to me. They've published all the short stories that I've had published have been with Friction, and also there was one in a anthology. But yeah, Friction magazine has published a few of my stories, and they did this pretty crazy ambitious project where they got like a bunch of pretty high profile authors, like much more high profile than me, like Margaret Atwood and I think was it Neil, what's his last name? Neil Gaiman. I think they got him. Maybe I imagined that. But it was like a bunch of like really high profile authors to write tarot cards for this deck that they put together, where you picked a literary classic, and wrote a tarot card based on a particular book, like classic, canon literature. And I did mine on Frankenstein. My card was the Hermit, so it was both of them were very apropos for my life. And yeah, wrote a little blurb for the back of the card, kind of like the descriptive text. You're supposed to write it in the style of the book, so I wrote it very, histrionic and over the top in Frankenstein verbiage. And they made beautiful artwork for it. It's like a really beautiful card set. If anybody's interested in that kind of stuff, like really high quality. And yeah, it's out there. It was done on Kickstarter originally, but it came out a while ago. It's available, I assume, just on their website now. Somebody asked about remove 10% of the final draft. I mean, formulas, they're all, I don't really put much stock in any kind of like general advice for writing, at least like in terms of amounts and quantities. Like some books need stuff removed, some books need stuff added. There really is no, like for Stephen King's stuff, he probably does need to remove. 10% is probably generous for, could probably remove a lot more than that and be better books. But it, I've had like Warm Bodies, I added a lot to. It was actually too slim. And that was one of the criticisms that I got when I sent it out to the publishing market, is that people said, the first half is really rich and fleshed out, but then when you get to the human civilization, it kind of feels thinly drawn. And I was like, oh, you're right. So I added a bunch of stuff to the the stadium and all the human civilization to try to like build that out, make that as rich as the zombie civilization, and ended up increasing the length quite a bit. And again, with the overnoise, it's the opposite. I'm cutting stuff, and it just really depends on the book. Interestingly, comparing to King's style, King is notorious for, or he's well known anyway, for not planning his novels. He doesn't outline at all. He just like dives in and does it. And I have always outlined in the sense of, a rough sketch, not like a literal outline. But I've always written out, step by step, everything that happens in the story before I start writing it. And Overnoise was the first book that I tried not doing that. I thought, maybe I'll experiment with this other method. I knew kind of how it ended at least, but the journey of getting there was not mapped out yet. And I thought, I'm just going to dive in and start writing it and see where it takes me. And the result was a bloated book that needed to be trimmed way down. So I think there's something to be said for the planning part. It helps you just, you waste less time on rabbit trails and meandering because you know where you're trying to go. And you've already kind of like auditioned the scenes in your head. And it can still change a lot. Like Warm Bodies did change a lot from my original outline. All the books I've written with outlines have changed dramatically. So it's not like you have to stick to it. But just having a roadmap for me helps a lot to know, to keep things on track. And when I don't have that, like a lot of the stuff with Overnoise that I'm doing right now is just figuring out like there's some dead weight here, things that aren't really serving the story, taking up space and delaying the payoff. And so I've been just chopping out stuff that they're good scenes. I like the scenes. I'll probably post the scenes on my Patreon someday. I've been putting all my cut content on Patreon, but they just don't, they're an obstacle to getting the story to where it needs to be. And I think that's probably a consequence of trying to do the no plan style. The benefit of that style, I think it works better for stories that that are kind of more like about a vibe, like a lived experience kind of thing, as opposed to like a rigid plot.
This book is kind of somewhere in between, where it does have a plot. It's not just like a meandering, literary wank fest, but it is kind of about the lived experience of these characters and just kind of like the gradual accumulation of horror as the world changes around them and kind of their lives fall apart. So it's not really like heavy on the like events happening. It's more like them just living their lives and trying to make it work as the world keeps crushing everything they try to do. So it's kind of in between there somewhere, and so the approach that I took sort of worked, and then it had some side effects. Basically, that's all I'll say about that. Thanks, Natrium. Yeah, I showed everybody earlier, but there's my shower. I just finished building that today. And I now have everything I need for a basic lifestyle out here. So, really no major projects left until, there's a house down there someday. As far as the cabin phase, the shed life phase, it's done. A few little chores, little cleanup tasks, but all the major things are done with this shower. In fact, for everybody who's popped in after the demo, I'll just show you this again because I'm pretty proud of it. Like, isn't that beautiful? Hang your towel, hang your clothes, your robe or whatever. Enjoy the flora. And most importantly, enjoy the view. I actually am going to take this door off for most of the summer. It pops off its hinges here. So I'll just have it stored and leave this wide open. But the weather's actually starting to turn cold here a little bit. I tried to match the walls with the sky tone, which makes it feel much more open and free in here. But yeah, during the summer, this will be wide open, and it's glorious. Yeah, that faucet, I'm fingers crossed. I'm still kind of skeptical that any faucet can truly withstand the absolute hellscape of the winters out here. Because it gets, negative 20, negative 30 sometimes. The pipes will freeze inside the walls of a heated structure. So I don't know. We'll see. They claim, they guarantee it works if it's installed properly. I don't know if I am. The water actually does have a drain, Natrium. There's a drain under the gravel that goes into the same drain that my sink goes to, which is in a underground barrel out there, kind of like a homemade septic tank. And it's just, it's a very small amount of water for the shower. I don't take long showers. I have a tiny water heater. So there's just not, I don't think, even if there was no drain, I think the shower would end long before I filled up the amount of volume of that box. But the drain is, there just to make sure that it never is a problem. More so I'm worried about it in the winter when it freezes. Oh my God, look at this guy. What a beautiful tableau. Kind of looks like a funeral, honestly. Somebody play the organ music. Oh, what a sad thought. Fortunately, Bob will never die. Because he's actually never going to die because he's not ever going to die. So this will never actually happen, the scene that I'm imagining there, because of the reasons that I mentioned earlier about how he's never going to die. As you can see, he agrees with me. God, what a beautiful image, right? In front of his name tag. Oh, what a sight. You tired of this shit, Bob? You tired of being a superstar? He's tired of it. Somebody asked me what was in my cup. The answer is a margarita. A little homemade margarita. Probably need a little refill here. I always think with these streams, I'm like, well, I'll just do it for like, an hour or something. And I keep thinking you're gonna start dwindling, and then I'll drop off. But then you maintain. You're still here. So like, what can I do but pour some more? I mean, the numbers stay pretty steady the whole night. It's not until that moment, like when the numbers start dropping rapidly and it starts to feel kind of embarrassing. That's my cue to wrap it up. No, I didn't dump it down the drain. I dumped it in my mug. Down the hatch, you mean? Gold leafing. That's pretty cool. Sleepy has arrived. One of my Patreon Discord regulars. Always a pleasure to see the gang in the chat. There's a few people have popped in tonight from the chat, but it's been a while since the last one. I can't remember who was in here before. Jen is in here in the chat sometimes. Who else? If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, I have a Discord channel for my Patreon. It's a private channel for patrons. And it's pretty much like the main reason to ever join my Patreon. It's like a lively hangout. And it's kind of weird because like it really has nothing to do with me. It's oh yeah, and Haley's part of it too. It like rarely ever talks about warm bodies or anything that I do. It's just like a chat room for, I guess, like whatever weird frequency a lot unites people who are interested in my stuff, I guess. That's the only common ground, the only common thread connecting everyone in those chat. But as soon as people show up, it's like it really has nothing to do with me, which is how I want it. I would probably be uncomfortable if it was just like a bunch of people being like, "Oh, where's Isaac? What's Isaac doing?" But the fact that it's just like kind of a prompt, I guess, like a reason for people to get together and have some assumption of like a similar mindset, I guess, which is probably true like for any artist, any art, any fandom. Anybody who is into that is going to have something in common with each other. So it's kind of like it's a starting point, I guess. But yeah, we have a whole channel for food. People just post their food and like geek out about food. Which, by the way, is kind of like torment to me because my food situation out here is not so luxurious. I do what I can with my home cooking, but it's not fancy. People have been posting lately like all these like cheese-covered fried tacos and Asian food of all kinds, which I know I don't have any Asian food out here. That's completely unavailable to me. I don't know how to make it, and I don't have it in town. Bob doesn't know how to make it either. All he knows how to do is be majestic and gaze heroically onto the horizon. That's all he can do. He has no idea how epic he looks. Pre-drink alerts? What does that mean, Kaylin? Does that mean you're about to start drinking? You're warning us? There's probably a limited amount of damage that you can do in the chat here. I have to be wary of how much I drink in the chat because, you know, it's not a good idea to be drunk on camera in front of the world. It's one thing to be like drunk in a bar with a limited group of people, but you know, especially when I have so many secrets to keep. I'm full of secrets. I have so many industry secrets that I have to keep a little longer. It's driving me crazy. And if I keep drinking this, I might start spilling them. So I have to watch myself. Oh yeah, that's you, Kaylin. You get the alerts. I mean, the alerts is that I'm going to start streaming, but you know that the streaming equals drinking. To be fair to me, this is the only time I drink. Like most weeks, literally, it's the only time I will have a leisure moment like this. Because it's like, when and why else am I going to do it? I'm out here by myself. Like, Bob doesn't drink. He's boring. He's just a serious, methodical man. He doesn't party at all. So I got nobody to drink with. I'm not just going to sit here and get drunk by myself without at least like a digital ghost to keep me company. So now I have 24 digital ghosts to hang out with. It's not a bad crowd. What's going on, bud? Okay, good. Natrium's drinking. Last time I did this, there were two guys who were wasted, and they were telling me that they were wasted, and that was like pretty fun, actually. It made me feel like I was, you know, out with the guys, which is not something that I get to experience much in real life these days. So if anyone happens, not that I'm like encouraging it aggressively, like I'm not even drunk. I've had like 2 or 3 margaritas. But I do appreciate it when people get into the spirit of the night with me. Yeah, it is a little weird, Claudia. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think about it sometimes. The way I think about it, it's like this doesn't completely take the place of my social life. I do when I feel like I need real like human presence, I go back into civilization. That's civilization over there. I go back in, I hang out with people, I catch up. I would say my digital life just kind of like takes the edge off. It's not like because I'm doing this, I'm not going to do anything in real life. It's more like on a night that I wasn't going to do anything anyway, then I do this instead of nothing. So it's like, it's a bonus. It doesn't replace anything. It just adds to it. So it's a net positive in my life. That's how I think about it. I guess you could argue that, you know, if I didn't have this, I would be more motivated to go out and, you know, make flesh and blood friends. Oh, the wasp found me. I got to relocate. They're like assassins. They found me. I gotta find a new place to hide. Got to change my name. Got to get plastic surgery. Cheers, tiny house. It's funny because like a lot of my audience, it seems kind of like a disproportionate amount of my audience does not drink. And I don't know if that's just kind of like a generational thing or something specific to like my demographic. Maybe it's like I don't know, like a nerd thing, like readers. Uh, but like, or maybe that's just the actual reality of the world. I don't know. But I when I do stuff like this, I often feel like I'm the weird one. Like I'm the only one who's drinking, and everyone else is kind of like, tut tut, which is fine, you know, as long as they don't actually tut tut me. I'm not here to like, hey, why aren't you drinking? But yeah, it's kind of like it feels a little bit like a circus sometimes when I do stuff like this, knowing that like 8 out of 10 people who are watching are not drinkers in general. At least it seems that way sometimes. I don't know if that's actually true, but I get a lot of pushback whenever I talk about alcohol. A lot of people in my various platforms are like, "Oh, well, I don't drink because of this or that," and maybe they're just more vocal about it. I don't know. Late night coffee instead, Haley? What do you mean it doesn't agree with you anymore? Aren't you like 24? You can't be telling me that your body has betrayed you on the alcohol front already. Ah, okay, we have one drunk nerd in the house. I'm glad that to see evidence that can exist, that that's possible. Oh wait, wait. What are you saying? Nerd and proud and drunk, not me. Because you're on. Oh, so you're not drunk. You're talking about me. I'm the nerd who's drunk. See, case in point. Anyway, I'm not a preacher for drinks. Everybody has their reasons for their lifestyle, but it is a social experience. My brother recently stopped drinking. My best friend temporarily stopped drinking for some like program that he's in, not AA, but like a health program thing. So it's just been on my mind a little bit lately. Like, man, I feel like everybody's dropping out, and it's just me out here, you know. People always say like, oh, well, you know, why do you care uh, if the people you're with are drinking? Like, just you drink and have fun. But that's not how it works. Like, it's hard to explain, but I think the reason that drinking is social is that it's a shared experience. It's everybody letting your guard down in the same way is a communal like bonding experience. So if I go out with people who are sober, we can't have that experience. I'm not going to drink in front of people. Like I'm not going to go out and get drunk with people who are not drinking. That's just it's just not fun because it's not there's no camaraderie to it. It's just like me descending into a hole alone, which is not cool. Like the whole point of it is like I've thought of. I think it's comparable to like say a nude beach, for example. If you're at a nude beach, if everybody's naked, it's not that embarrassing, right? Like you're all vulnerable, you're all exposed, you're doing a thing together. But so I went to a nude beach once, and everybody was naked, and the people I was with were naked, and all of a sudden this dude comes up, fully clothed, like hat, shirt, pants, you know, not part of the experience. And he walks onto the beach and comes up to our blankets and starts talking to us. And it was just like, what the hell is going on here? This is not okay. And it was purely because he was clothed. It was like, you are in a different level of reality. You are secure, fully covered. You're not risking anything right now. You're not vulnerable in any way. You're fully in control, and you're sitting next to us naked people, talking to us. We're in a different reality here. This is not comfortable, and I feel like it's very similar with alcohol. It's like drinking is kind of a form of being naked, and that's kind of why it's fun. Is you get to be vulnerable with people. You get to like expose your inner goofball, your inner child, and like let the inhibitions fall away. So if you're with people who are just like completely in control still, completely rigid, they can see every flaw. They are observing you like from this tower, oh, you're slurring your words a little bit. It's not fun anymore. So that's my explanation for why it doesn't really work as simply as people think it does as far as like drinking, not drinking. It's different like right now because we have the digital divide here. I can't see you judging me. You might be judging me just as much. You're probably like, oh man, how many has he had now? But it's still, if you were looking at me in person, it would be awkward. Across the digital gap, we can pretend. Yeah, Claudia, there's a reason there's nudist colonies, right? Nudists don't just wander out into the city nude, they hang out with other nudists because there's a shared culture, there's a shared vulnerability to it. And it's very different to be naked around people who are not naked. And absolutely, Sleepy, it's the same for the inverse. I hate being around drunk people when I'm sober. It's so uncomfortable because they become stupid. Like, they become stupid and annoying. And if I'm not also stupid and annoying, then it's really annoying to be around them. And they don't know it. And they like try to engage with me as a drunk person. And if I'm not drunk, I'm just like, oh, I can't do this, man. You're in a different world than me. You're speaking a different language. Your perception of this place we are in right now is so different from what I'm perceiving. It's not cool. So, like, funny enough, I used to have the reverse of this with my brother, who is now is now sober, but he used to invite me out to the bars all the time. When I've not drank it. I've not drank significantly for a long time. I used to. It used to be a big part of my life, and now it's kind of like special occasions only. And so, especially when I'm working on a book, I can't create art with a hangover. Basically, is what it comes down to. It's not about the drinking itself; it's about the hangover. Any amount of hangover, even like a one or two drinks hangover, is enough to kind of like dull the senses that I need to write the kind of writing that I do. So when I lived in Seattle, I was kind of a bummer for when I was working on a novel, especially like the last couple Warm Bodies novels, which were really intensive. Like they took a lot of focus. I basically became kind of pseudo sober during that time. And my brother and a couple of friends would always invite me out, and they're like, "It's cool, man. Like, just join up with us. You don't have to drink." And I tried it a couple of times, and I'm just like, I can't do this. You guys are so annoying. And I know all it would take to make you not annoying anymore is to get on your level. I just have to join you in that drunk dimension. But since I can't do that, I'm stuck in the sober dimension, which is its own completely different reality. And it's not that fun. So I've kind of reluctantly accepted that you just have to pick, which world are you going to live in tonight? Is this sober world or drunk world? And if I'm in sober world, I'm not going to hang out with drunk people and vice versa. Normally I would not be drinking around a bunch of people who are not drinking. It's only because of the digital disconnect that I'm cool with this, because I can't see how sober you are. Yeah, I mean, people watching, Sleepy, like, there is that. But for me, it never really became that enjoyable because it was depressing. Like at the same time, um, because I guess probably because I just wanted to join them, and I don't like how grim the sober world is. I don't like. I mean, I love the feeling of letting go and letting the borders soften and sort of retreating into a warm world, and seeing other people live in that world and me just out here in the cold reality. I feel like I'm getting a lot of wind here. Probably can't even hear me. It's just kind of a bummer. So I couldn't really enjoy the people watching aspect that much because it got me thinking too existential. I start to think like, is this our only options in life? You know, we either have to be chemically altered to be capable of happiness, or we're stuck, being just huge bummers. And it just got me thinking too much. And I try to think less these days. That's why Bob is such an inspiration, because he doesn't think at all. And he's so happy. Bob is basically permanently drunk. Like cats, they just live in a dream. Where as long as, I mean, they're basically always happy. They just have to like have some really basic needs met and they're good to go. Most animals are like that. I find it pretty inspiring. Granted, he has literally all his needs taken care of by this guy. I'm the one who has to stress out about his needs. So wild animals is a bit of a different story. Yeah, this flash flood, guys. Where are you, Mariana? I keep getting the weather alerts about this flash flood. It's been happening for the last 3 days, but it has not rained at all yet. So I don't know. I don't know where this flooding is supposed to happen. Oh wow, we got a home brewer, home distiller here. That's the next level up from home brewers. Yeah, karma. If there's meds involved, that kind of changes the equation a lot. Like, it's there's a lot of different ways to leave reality. Um, Antidepressants, all the different kind of psychoactive pills that people take, they all alter your experience in some way. I think really the crucial difference is just between unaltered raw dog reality and anything else. And there's a very significant difference between those two. However you get there to the other place, so be it. As long as you don't have to be entirely conscious of reality on like the grittiest of levels. That's the part that is it's difficult. All living things want to escape that state, including animals. I mean, animals will get wasted at the earliest opportunity. Monkeys, elephants, all animals love getting high. Nobody wants to like really be here. We're all trying to escape in some way. "12 inches of rain." Good God, that's a foot. Wow, so it's flash flooding between Seattle and Portland right now. It is so dry out here. Look at this. It's been like this for weeks. Actually, there's a little trace of a cloud over there. That's the first I've seen any clouds in quite a while. maybe it's finally coming. I'm completely ready now. Everything is done. Products are done. Everything's sealed, caulked, oiled. I don't have any tools out except my chop saw over there. Yeah, Natrium, I don't think, I wouldn't say we're trying to escape. Maybe that's an oversimplification. I just think, excuse me, Bob. I'm like scooting him aside so I can join him on the ground here. I think, so like, I think it was Huxley, The Doors of Perception, talked about his theory about psychedelic drugs is that there's like a valve to the brain that determines how much information it can perceive at a time. And in order for us to survive, we're filtering out so much of the experience of life to funnel it down to like these sort of essential elements that we need to survive, like finding food, shelter, all that stuff. Um, and drugs of any kind basically kind of open that valve so that like more stuff kind of comes flooding through, and it's of course different depending on the different what drug it is. But what drugs all have in common is that they sort of relieve you from that just practical, relentless, plodding drive of just survival. And even like simple animals, they still experience stress. They experience the anxiety of like trying to survive. And to be relieved of that is a pretty profound thing. It's like imagine, I mean, it's even got to be even more profound for animals where it's like that's all they're doing all day is just like how do I get food? How do I survive? And to be lifted out of that for a moment when they eat the marula fruit or whatever. Uh, yeah, it's I do know about ayahuasca. I have not done it yet. I plan to. I have a couple of friends who are actually practitioners of that. But I'm mostly familiar with mushrooms as far as psychedelics. Uh, haven't delved into like the really hard stuff of that realm. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of generalizing here with all psychoactive substances. Uh, they just reality, pure reality, is pretty hard. You know, it's just like it's grim. You know, we have a good time. We try to carve out spaces to enjoy ourselves, but it's the day to day experience of it can be pretty dusty and hard. And it's just like another day, another dollar. You know, go to work, come home, you twist your ankle, you have this or that health problem, you got to go to the doctor. It's just pain, hunger. Now I'm tired. It's just like the grueling day to day slog of like having a body with needs. It's a lot to deal with. And then at the same time, we have like this higher consciousness that yearns for something more than that. It yearns for to be free of the body, basically, to be able to explore other realms and to feel other things that have nothing to do with food and reproduction. And it's very rare that we get a chance to enjoy that. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to me that the desire to get high is universal across the animal kingdom. It's like the fact that birds and creatures that are just have no desires other than like their instincts still are like, hell yeah, give me that fermented fruit. That fermented cactus. I am well, Laura Capizzolo. Despite my depressing monologue just now, having a good day. I mean, how could I not be? Look where I am right now. Chilling with my boy next to my little herb pots as the sun sets on the horizon. My outpost is completed. Everything is beautiful. I've got a shower around the corner. Let's see if I can reach it with my little pole here. No, can't reach. But trust me, there's a beautiful shower around that corner. Slowly, life is coming together out here. Thanks, Sleepy. I took a gamble on this color. I wasn't sure if it was going to be over the top or not. You know, I was worried about the intense colors out here kind of clashing with the landscape, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's got a very warm, earthy color. Now that I'm finally getting some plants in here, it's especially got a nice vibe to it. Yeah, Bob's Shit Shack. That's something I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of like an exercise for myself of like letting go of perfectionism and just like cobbling something together with scrap wood, not worrying at all about its structural integrity. It's just going to be like a primitive box out of whatever random angled pieces of scrap I can find. And Bob's going to love it. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. It's a beautiful, beautiful little moment to exit on, I think. Serenity. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Whether you're drinking or not, I accept you. And good to see you, Del, and everybody else. Hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. If anybody is doing anything other than this for your Saturday night. I might go take a walk in this golden glow. Marion out. Good night. Oh, and good night from this man. Oh, sorry, Bob. Startled him. Just trying to let you say goodbye to the people, Bob. Good night.